Morning everybody and welcome to today's Sunday Q&A. I'm still here. What a week it's been. Yeah, it has been a bit of a week, sort of running the trucks and all that. And if it's sort of, I think, I'm pretty sure I've made the right decision. I kind of, on Friday, one of the jobs it had to go here and then there and then here, and the driver he said, I'm going to strap it and take it back. And I'm like, mate, you can't do that. So I had to finish the trucks up yesterday. Frustratingly, the one that I am driving is currently in sort of Olney, Milton Keynes way, Lavingdon, because we're renting it. Well, we're using it. We're not renting it. We're lending it to a pub. They're doing a gig for a children's hospital, so they need it for Saturday night, which means rather than me getting up there because it's Saturday morning, getting there and getting the truck ready and getting me sort of phone holders there. And what are you doing, cat? There's a cat. You can't see her anyway. Getting me phone holders there and getting me bed made up and getting me kit in. It won't take too long. I mean, the thing's all ready to go anyway. The straps and the the pump trucks on it. So I've got all those bits and pieces. And obviously, I won't get it right first time. And as I go, oh yeah, I need that. I can add to it. But it would be nice to try and sort of get it all sorted, and then I could kind of maybe enjoy the bank holiday weekend. Yeah, it's gone funny. But that's not going to be an option. I've got to get up to Lavingdon tomorrow, which means I've got to get a lift to Lavingdon, which means Al might come down, but I don't know what time, or I've got to get one of the kids to run me up there, but they ain't going to want to get up early on a Sunday, and it's like, and I'd like to get it sorted, but anyway. But we're there. I took both the drivers back. They were very understanding, because we had to drop the lorry up to a pub. I bought them both a beer before we left, and then took it back to Coventry, and said I feel both relieved and very sad. I said I feel relieved because I've been dreading this moment. It's been like splitting up with your long-term girlfriend. You hate it, but the second you've actually done the deed and you've walked out the door, you get that sense of, I didn't enjoy that, but I'm pleased it's done type thing. And sad that it didn't work out. Having said that, you learn as you go. I certainly do. I still haven't got a clue what I'm doing. And we're now going down to 2 lorries. Just me. I've got my first job booked already. I'm Milton Keynes to Taunton or somewhere like that, so I don't think I'm coming back on Monday. I don't know when I'm coming back. I keep saying to the wife, I say I'm going, I might be gone all week. And she's like, yeah, okay. But I don't think she's taking it seriously. And I said to her, I've got my first job, I don't think I'll be home Monday. She's like, oh. I'm like, well, we did discuss this, Lisa. I'm going to have to go to work now. I'm really going to have to get my head down and get on with it, Yeah, but I've got to be back on, it's only bank holiday weekend, so worse I'm going to be out for Tuesday night and Wednesday night. I've got to be back Thursday night because Friday I'm doing my secret project, which we're about to tell you all about soon. In the meantime, your words of wisdom and support. Shane Hardy says, Pete, think of this situation and this bank holiday as a great reset for your health and the company. The only thing you can do is persevere. This is true. As my mate David Chris has always said, the only thing that failure cannot cope with, I told you there was a cat around, it's like Jaws. The only thing that failure cannot cope with is perseverance. John Fenawar, man in Ireland, said, God bless Pete, I know it's hard, but no better man to turn it around, the very best. I hope you're right, John, I genuinely do. Philip Boyle says, best of luck, thank you. Wishing, which you don't need as a grafter, please keep us updated with plans. I might not need it, but it would come in incredibly handy. I'll put the hours in. I've like my mate Ivan used to say, so I don't mind the collar. I'll do the collar. I just want to get paid for it. So that's where we're going to go now. And at least I'll be able to, because if it's much smaller, I think I'll be able to work out. I had 2 charges again. You know them zone charges? Part of the reason I'm not running Haulage is zone charges. One of them was from Bath, and one of them was from Sheffield. The thing is, I hadn't sent them to Bath or Sheffield. So they're kind of driven through. So we'll see how we go with Roy. He's still on the firm. And the plan is hopefully that truck number 2 will pay the excess on truck number 1, which means all the money truck number 1 makes will be profit. But if it turns out I get the end of it and I go, do you know what? This is how much I turned over. This is how much Roy's turned over. This is how much it's cost. When you take into account I'm actually propping him up, it's good night Vienna. I have warned him about this. He's aware of the situation. I will keep him updated, but we'll just have to see. And also the other thing is I kind of can't, it's a bit like coming off heroin in the fact that you can't drop from 4 trucks to 1 truck, because next week I've still got to pay 4 lots of wages because they're paid a week in hand, and I have to pay 4 lots of fuel because the fuel is a week behind. And if I've got to do that off 1 lorry run in 3 days, I can't do it. There's just not enough turnover. But if I've got to do it off 2 lorries, if I don't take a wage next week, I can probably do it. And then the week after it will get easier, and the week after that it will get easier, and hopefully we'll get to where we're at the stage where it's just less complicated. That's the plan. Sean Martin said the main earnings of the year are going to be September, October, November. Then Q1 and Q2 next year poor. So paring back now and maxing out your earnings is the wisest move. By your definition, this is the worst time for me to pare back. Which is, if this is the busy period, I've just gone through all the quiet period, and this is the busy period. Then really this is the time I should run. I should have run it up till Christmas and say we're stopping at Christmas. That's another thing, because you think, I've got to pay them over Christmas. That's not cheap. But to be honest with you, I think for my own sanity, I think it's time, the time is now, as Roisin Murphy would say. Dale Steele says, Pete, he said, I used to have a bus company. I started from scratch, and after 12 months had 11 buses. Well done, Dale. I only set it up to test the market. In the end, I shut it down. It was too much getting up 6 days a week at 4 a.m. However, what I learned was this. Buying old vehicles is a false economy. Old trucks and buses require too much maintenance. Leasing a new vehicle is more profitable. We employed a full-time fitter, which allowed us a few older vehicles, but even then it was still uneconomical. If you're going to run old vehicles, you need backup vehicles because they will let you down. You're probably right, Dale. My theory is about getting like lease vehicles. If you get one and then you can't get the work, you've still got to pay the lease vehicle. I would rather run not old vehicles, but sort of old reliable vehicles, and ones that the parts are cheap and readily available, which is where I hope I'm going to be. I'm okay, they're 62 plates, they're not that new. But the miles on them aren't too bad. It's 300,000 or thereabouts, which for a lorry isn't too bad, and they are regularly maintained. But it's only, I mean, the other thing I've thought about, if I'm going to live in the damn thing, maybe it might be worth going, well, how much are you going to charge me? But every time I've ever looked into lease, I have a heart attack and keel over. So, you know, anyone know anything more? What would you expect to pay to lease an 18-ton truck? Let me know. I'll think about it. There, a question for the wise guys there, for next week. If nothing else, I'm creating my own content. Moses says, I love your content. Thanks, Moses. Don't know what's happened, but I guess it will only make you stronger and wiser in the industry. Top man, keep your chin up. You'll be fine alone for now. Next time you expand, we'll do it differently. I don't know if I want to expand anymore. You know, kind of next time. I tried to build a market empire, didn't work. I tried to build a lorry empire, didn't work. You have a sneaking suspicion that life is trying to tell me something here. Maybe I should listen. And the whole idea, I used to watch this thing as a kid. Anyone remember it? Contemporary reference for the 18 to 25-year-olds here. B.J. McKay and the Bear. It was about a guy who was a lorry driver in America, and I think he had a monkey for a pet or something like that. I think it was kind of a bit of a take on Every Which Way But Loose, like, you know. Another contemporary reference to the 18 to 25-year-olds there. And he was just happy. Oh, you know, it was one of the things, drive a lorry around the States, move into town, meet the young girl, beat the bad guys with your truck. Kind of the A-team in a lorry. And I thought, well, it doesn't sound so bad. The one thing I have learned, being in an office is stressful. And you know, like when you're in that thing where you can't find an address, or you're waiting and you can't get in, or the reference number's wrong. And when you're doing it on your own, that's aggravating. When you're running 4 people, it's 4 times as aggravating. I had John sitting outside Amazon on Thursday for nearly 4 hours trying to get in. And then I kept saying to them, they're not going to let him in. They need the reference 24 hours ahead of time. In the end, we had to drop it back to their depot. And I've got to say, they paid me day rate, which was very nice of them, because I was waiting to go, well, yeah, but they didn't. The firm we were working for, very good firm. But it's stressful, which is why I wonder if 2 trucks is going to be doubly stressful. But what I am aiming to do is I'm going to say to Roy, I say, look, I said, I'm going to give you the number that I ring if things go wrong. And rather than ringing me, you go, can't find the place, the reference number's wrong, ring this number, and you can just say, hi, I'm Van Gogh, I'm working on this job. But they can liaise with the driver directly. So I'm wondering if that is, I've said to him, I said, you know, you've managed to keep your job, but it might have to change slightly. I'm going to have to give him a little bit more responsibility. And I'm going to I'm going to teach him how to do the scan thing on the CX, because at the moment he photographs PODs. We'll have to do one on PODs, in fairness. I've done one before, but it's out of date on what to do with your PODs. I'll do you a link anyway. Anyway, might as well, where are we? Think about that. No, I'll put on 1022. There you go, 10. That's a good idea. Why do I write that now? Yeah, but I think you can have a look at the old one, but I think I'm going to have to change it. So we'll do a video on that. Yeah, anyway. That's certainly something I've learned in the office. We're used to, we say, well, what we would do is print the invoice off, attach POD and send it. It's all email now. Pretty much, very rarely do I get asked for hard copies, which is great because we live in the 21st century. And if you can do the scan function, you can actually print it off and it looks exactly like a hard copy of the POD. If you've got a decent printer. If you do the photograph version, I have had one lady say, look, I can't give this to my customer, it just doesn't work. So what I want you to do, dig it out of the safe, scan it, send her across on an email, and she'll make you, that's fine. So they weren't being awkward, they just said, I can't send that to my customer, it looks rubbish. TML says, good luck Pete, thanks mate. Since starting on the CX a few years ago, it was hard going, waiting to get paid, but the hardest part is getting your own contacts clients. Now I only use the CX 1 or 2 days a week. I mean, the CX theoretically, this is the other thing, you can't really kick it for not making enough money, because theoretically it's a backload platform. Problem I've always had is when I actually go to my customers, they want to pay the backload monies anyway, and then don't pay. Kim Warburton says, take your own advice, Pete. Keep it simple, don't drive yourself mad. Take care and take money. That's the idea. Keep the faith and I'm sure you will come good, my friend. Best of luck and look forward to Sunday's Q&A. Well, here it is, Ken. There you go. Turn up. I got a car back. You know, because we sold a car because we had 3 cars. The kid was getting a company car. And now I kind of went, Mum, we're going to need that company car very soon because I'm going to have to drive to the warehouse to pick the lorry up. I need a vehicle doing it. So we've now got an electric BMW. I've not been in it yet. Apparently it's brilliant. But it just goes, zzz. It's like something out. It's like a space car. And having said that, she got the charging thing wrong, so we put the drip feeder on the house. I think it's been charging for about a day and a half now. I don't know if it's halfway there. Electric vehicles, they're the future. Really, are they? Don't get me started on can zones. But yeah, so that's interesting. Might have a go in that. Louise McNeil says, Lewis McNeil, I believe. You have not failed. You have just figured out the industry. You said it yourself. Going to work, then it will work. You said it yourself. If it's going to work, then it will work on my terms without stress. Something I have realised in business is if you're going to scale up, you need to be earning a lot of money. So, and I do wonder also if it's true, if like in a nomad, if like when you're scaling up with trucks, there's like a no man's land. 1 or 2 is fine. 50 is fine. But there's this period in between where you're like 4 or 5 where it's just not fine. Everything is really expensive. The admin costs are really expensive. I don't know, but I mean, I see people that run lots of vehicles. Mind you, I also know my transport manager runs 3. My ex-transport manager, superhero Daniel Garemba, and he did okay. So maybe it's just me. Probably it's just me. We'll find out. But yeah, the whole idea of just driving one lorry, making a decent wage and being happy. There's that thing like so when you're working in the office, you're thinking all the time. When you're driving a lorry, it's kind of zen. You know, you sort of put the radio on, you go, where am I going? Put it on, you know, you're like, okay, we're off to Bristol. I'm on the M25. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. It's moving. I'm listening to the radio. I'm on auto cruise. You kind of go into autopilot and you just think about stuff and it's relaxing as opposed to, oh, I've got to do this invoice. Oh, what is this? Oh, what's this email? Oh, I've got to sort that out. That's not relaxing. Paddy McGurr says, by the sound of it, if I were to go down to one truck, you said go down to one truck, keep it simple. He said, you helped me in the final push to join the CX nearly 2 years ago. Took your advice, got a Merc Sprinter, single curtain side with a tail lift and doing pretty well. I also have a small van I hardly use. Yeah, you can probably get rid of the small van. That's the thing. I mean, when I went into the trucks, my mechanic said, you're not going to keep the van too in case you want to do van jobs. And I went, no, it's not going to stop doing van jobs. Why would I stop running in one vehicle to take the other vehicle where I can get a job that pays half the amount of money? No, I'll stay with the big one. Skissavol says, Defo do the haulage exchange. Yeah, there's something else I want to ask you about, guys, about haulage manager CPC, but use the home study course. I did my passenger transport CPC with this method, not knowing anything about the business. You have the knowledge of the haulage business. The only time off you will need is to take the 2 exams. I'm going to do my haulage manager CPC when I return to the UK after the ski season. Well, I hope you're having a wonderful time. It's Skisaval. Okay. This also helps a lot. There is also a lot of help on YouTube. Well, it's a wonderful thing, YouTube. Definitely should watch the videos on there. Good luck in the future. All the best, Colin. Colin, thanks, mate. What do we think? I really should do the Transport Manager CPC because for a start, it would save me 450 quid a month. But it sounds like work. And I know how much time I've got to put to one side to do the work on top of doing the lorries and doing the videos. So what do we think about this? I mean, what Nick says, Nick the Urban Trucker, he says the best thing you can do is just take 2 weeks off. Do the intensive course, do the exams, pass the exams, and you're set for life. So that's lovely, except for the fact I've got to take 2 weeks off to do it, and I can't afford to do 2 weeks off. And I've looked online, you can get like a folder or a book for 120 quid, which I presume you've got to learn everything in it. I mean, when I did that, is there not like, or you can do like an online computer course, but they're a load of money. So what do we think, guys? And ladies, what do we think about the idea of the Transport Manager course? Can I do it? Can I do it part-time? Is it an easy way of doing it? Or should I just focus on what I'm get this one right now? I think maybe focus on what I'm doing right now, get that straight and think about that one afterwards. I think that's a sensible thing to do, but we'll see. But I'm still interested in, when the time comes. Georgie says, all the best in whatever you decide to do, Pete. I'm new on the CX and appreciate all the advice you give. Georgie, it's mate, fine. Anything we can do to help, that's why we're here. Domain name guy says, sometimes the quality work-life balance is better than earning more money. As a minimalist, I live comfortably on £1,000 a month. Time is worth more than money, and he's right. All the money in the world never bought a second of time. The only problem I've got with a work-life balance is now I'm tramping, it's basically work. There's not a lot of life, but in the short term, that's where it's got to be. But again, tramping's not too bad. So I keep going about it. So I might only be out like maybe 1 night a week, 2 nights a week. Last time I said I'm going tramping, I mean, I got a job going to, I said I'm going to go out tramping, got a job going to Southampton, and then there was a job going from Southampton to Dunstable. Well, I won't tonight. I'm not going to, or Milton Keynes or something, so I'm not going to tramp in Milton Keynes when I live 20 minutes down the road, am I? And finally, a few words from the nefarious Steve Campbell. Hello, Steve. He said, just imagine, I said, something sensible here, tramping ain't all that bad. And he's right, I'm sure it's not. And I at least get a proper bed now. I don't get a fold-down bed where I have to convert the cab to get into it. And I've got rid of the day cab, which means at least when you're sitting on bays, if you can't be bothered to jump in the bed, you can just pull the seat back and recline the seat. So you can actually get some kind of a rest. He also said, my life is art. It's like the Rocky 3 film where he goes close to success, then becomes a champion, get comfortable and lose what he's got, having to go back to basics and retrain. Rocky 6, he was comfortable running a restaurant in his hometown and happy with the opportunity to come out of retirement one last time. There is an anthology here somewhere, 1 step at a time, 1 punch at a time. Yeah, you got nothing. Get out and give me 20. My Buster Merrifield impression is really not very good. And he said, also remember, I'm employed because of you. Yeah, I'm pleased about that, Steve. I am pleased about that. As for the Rocky films, didn't he lose everything in Rocky 4? Didn't the guy come up and take all the films, the robots and cars away or something like that? I think I'd just be happy if I could just get through it, to be honest with you. And that's kind of it on the way forward. So we just got a few little ones here. We got trucks. Dale Steele says, you want to get into Arctics, a lot more work about. There might be Dale, but it still only pays £3 a mile. And then you've got to marry it all up. Maybe 1 day 6 actually is the way forward. Don't know, maybe, we'll see. He also, on the miscellaneous, we got a few miscellaneous this week in fairness. This week's miscellaneous. Anthony Ridford says, thanks for answering my question. Anthony, I'm sorry it was so no good, but I've just at the end of the week I'd had it came with what I could see was a stressful time. For you, I was recommended your channel by a long-time courier. I hope you clear the decks and get back to some Zen. He says about the Zen thing. Yeah, so a proper answer to your question is, can you make money on the wheel, on the exchange in a long wheelbase? You can. There is money to be made. It depends on how much you need. It depends, you kind of want to, there is like, I think there's a video somewhere, there is a video on how to get started on the exchange, but it still works. I mean, like I say, I'm hoping I can go out in a lorry and make bring in as a gross quite a lot of dough. And the plan is to work out how much I can bring in gross, and at the same time driving my costs down as much as possible, like, you know. And we just have to see how it goes. But no, the work is out there, my friend. If you decide to go for it, I hope it works for you. Northern Migration Travel says, I did one other video on, so I can't remember how much you can make on this strategy. So £130 is nowhere near enough for the hours you're putting in. You can almost get that as an Amazon driver with absolutely no outlays whatsoever. So I think back in the day, I'm saying with a van, you could probably bring in a net profit of £130. And yes, you probably could get the same thing as an Amazon driver. If you want to do 250 drops a day, start work at 7 o'clock in the morning and finish work at 7 o'clock at night. Alternatively, you could join the exchange, do 3 jobs a day, 3 drops, a lot less stress, and earn the amount of money. I hate multi-drop. I think most couriers do. It's like a baptism by fire. A lot of the start, I've done it. I've done the Argos when the lockdown came down. I can't even really class that as multi-drop. And I've done it for Parcel Force back in the day as well. It's just massively frustrating and aggravating. Yeah, you can make that same, you know, you can probably make the same kind of money, I don't know, pushing a boulder uphill all day long, but would you choose to? Up to you guys. Jim on the Run says, I've been following you for a while, thanks Jim. Now think about working for myself. I'm a 7.5 ton agency driver in West Yorkshire. I work 6-hour shifts and get paid £100 a day. I drive a brand new DAF Mercedes, doing the same 3 drops a day. Newcastle, Stockton-on-Tees, Middlesbrough. No lifting and everything is on trolleys, tail lift. Easy driving, easily driven within the 4.5 hour rule. I don't have hassle of the yard, fuel, insurance, vehicle service. I also have a great boss, half my age, and a great team of drivers who accept me as one of the team. I can't see myself jumping into self-employed driving at the moment. Jim, if you're happy where you are, stay where you are. Why would you choose? I mean, if you're happy with the money and you're happy with the work and you're happy with the people, have a happy life. I mean, listen to what, you know, we've just done 22 minutes of me putting my hair out and watching my blood pressure go through the roof, trying to do something. If I could get myself in a position where I'm just happy, you're my hero, Jim. I want to be you. So, no, if you're driving a nice truck, you're happy with the route, you're happy with your boss, you're happy with the people, stay there. You know, an argument can be made that if you jump to, you know, you've done it for yourself, you might make more money, you might be happier. I'll tell you my fisherman's story. One day, let me tell you, I'll write that down. I'll do your video. There you go, I've written it down on a piece of paper. Fisherman's story for Jim. I've written that down as well, Jim. Get your own video. Like, that's a big deal. Yeah, but if you're happy, mate, I'm pleased for you. Flint says, all right, Pete, been following you for a while and wondering if you've got any advice for new past drivers in getting a job. I start my CNE course in a week and I'm curious if you've got any tips. What strikes me as the case, from what I've learned from what people told me on the channel, the problem you've got once you pass your first CNE is nobody will touch you for 2 years because your insurance is too high, because you're a brand new Arctic driver, which is kind of frustrating because really what you want to do is pass the test, just not do anything for 2 years, carry on working where you are, and then go up to someone and say, how long have you held your licence? Well, 2 years. Oh, brilliant, that's lovely. You haven't done a single hour of driving. It doesn't equate to how much experience you have. It just equates to how long you've had it. But I guess that's kind of the easy option. What you'll need to do, and what my mate Dave's going to do, because, you know, my ex-driver Dave, because the points he's got, you kind of need to approach a big company. Because big companies probably can get it on fleet, and they can probably got more chance. You won't get paid the same kind of dough, but at the same time, they will employ you, you will gain your experience, and then in 2 years' time, you can probably look to sort of further your career. But that strikes me as this is the advice that other people have given other people like you on the channel, people that know better than me, which is everybody. And that strikes me as what's supposed to be the way forward. So good luck. And finally, Godzilla's. You can all tune out now. We've done anything. He said, did I see something Judge Dreddy in the shipping shed? The shipping shed's still there. I'm just in the house today. He said, Presley taking the time to read the Ballad of Halo Jones. I never read Halo Jones. It's supposed to be good. I get one chance to drink in the ambulance and be propelled into a stark imagination of emotional humbling of the mind. So, yeah, what I would recommend to you, I mean, the standards are there. The Watchman was brilliant. I read it when it actually came out. My English teacher lent them to me. My English teacher at Luton Sixth Form College was a bloke called Mike Carey, and I didn't realise I was in the presence of genius at the time, but Mike Carey went on to... Has anyone ever seen Lucifer on, I think it's on Netflix. It's about the devil coming to running a nightclub in Los Angeles. It was co-written by Mike Carey, my English teacher. He also wrote the Gemma Arterton film, The Girl with All the Gifts. He's written a ton of novels, the Felix Castor novels. He was absolutely genius, and he was the one who lent me the comics. Nice guy. But what I would also recommend, so you've got Watchmen, Dark Knight, which is where obviously Batman vs Superman was based on. That's brilliant. Killing Joke. If anyone's ever, you could read it in an hour. How the Joker became the Joker. It's Alan Moore, I think, who also wrote The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the film, the Sean Connery film. That's excellent. It's really, really good. Really, really short, but really, really good. And the hidden gem, my favourite 2000 AD, because there aren't 2000 AD, there are other things. Button Man. I read it when I was a student, because I was a student from when I was 18 to 22. Students kind of thing you do, grow your hair and wear leather jackets and read comics and put badges on. It was fun at the time. It's a long time ago, But yeah, Button Man. And it's got nothing to do, so they should make a film out of it. It's got nothing to do with superheroes or guns or laser beams or space aliens or something like that. It's about a washed up mercenary who becomes what they call a Button Man. And it's rich people that are bored of racing horses or sort of boats and stuff like that. What they each have is like a hired hitman who they pay, and these guys like sort of drink and smoke in clubs, and they put their hitman against another hitman, and the guy who wins has to pay the other guy a load of money. It's like kind of like Get Carter, that kind of feel about it, but it's excellent. You can get it on a book. I think it's about school, and it's really, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Maybe I'm talking it up and they're going, it's all right, but yeah, probably my favourite 2000 AD strip, I think, was probably the Judge Anderson, the Jesus Syndrome. That was really good. Really like that. Like her. Anyway, told you it wasn't about trucks. It's not all about trucks. And finally, in conclusion this week, Zia says, don't mind a good stupid tax. Now these are videos going back to when I was on the market, where it's all in portrait and I'm actually reading it out on an autocue. So I said to them, I'll do you a link if you're interested. Guys, thanks for all your support and all your help as always. I'll be back in the lorry on Monday, so hopefully you'll see more Life on the Road videos. I'm on the road again. Bit of singing, bit of dancing, a bit less stress, and hopefully a good opportunity to take care and take money.